All right, everyone. We've got a very special guest with us today. I know many of you are very interested in getting into the world of cryptocurrency. And my guest today certainly knows his crypto. I want to introduce you to Jeremy Newsom. Jeremy is an awesome financial mentor. Over the last decade, he's been helping people achieve financial independence through stocks and crypto markets. And he's going to be one of our speakers at our upcoming Patriot Entrepreneur Live virtual conference on June 4th and 5th, which you can register for by clicking on the link below. But Jeremy is here right now to help shed some light on what for many is a very confusing topic. So Jeremy, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, my dear friend. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled, honored, and excited to be here.
It's my honor. And I got to tell you, I'm a little peeved because I thought I had a cool beard. And then I meet you, man, and I'm like, I gotta go to a Russian monastery or something. I gotta do that. That is a cool beard, man.
Dude,
that is awesome.
Thank you. If you had seen it last week, though, this is trimmed up. Like I
bet.
did look homeless.
I bet it's there you go. Yeah, you got you trim it well. I love it. I love it. Absolutely, man. Hey, let's start with some basics here. I know we've got people at different levels with all this. But Jeremy, if you could just help us to understand, bottom line, what precisely is cryptocurrency?
Phenomenal question. My basic overarching answer is it is going to challenge your beliefs about what money is. And what we have to do is we have to start diving a little bit more into what really is money to understand cryptocurrencies. I actually love the term crypto assets. And
nice.
The reason that I try to make a little bit of that distinction is because I don't truly think most of them are currencies. I don't think that they were all initially designed as currencies. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them actually have totally different applications and different methodologies. The very first one that most people have probably heard of, the most, Bitcoin, was created as the people's currency. So there are two or three bigger ones that are more currency related. But in general, what a cryptocurrency is, by definition, is a decentralized currency, which means no one owns it, that is encrypted through cryptography, which is a specific internet security protocol. And generally, most of these crypto assets or cryptocurrencies are on something called a distributed ledger technology, DLT. So in essence, the way you go from do you have money to do you not have money, if you're sending money from point A to point B, person A in America to person B who lives in Guatemala, if you're sending that money, that transaction has to be verified by someone called a miner. And that miner generally gets paid, right, in that cryptocurrency, in that actual currency that they're transacting in. If the person has the money, all good to go, the transaction's complete, and that person who verified that protocol through that algorithm actually gets paid as a reward, essentially being their own bank. So it opens up a lot of really cool flexibility for people all across different parts of the globe. And that's what makes it truly intriguing and interesting, because it allows so much versatility and flexibility.
It's a different internet architecture, isn't it? Yes. I think maybe that's one of the intimidations of it. For example, you really hit on it. You don't even need a bank for cryptocurrency, do you?
Yeah, you're 100% right, man. And for a lot of people, what I try to do is I go, listen, take a deep breath and realize understanding cryptocurrencies at this stage, this early in the game, is very similar to you understanding what an email was in the early 2000s. And not only understanding what an email is, but being able to tell someone technically how you, right, Dr. Charlie, can send me an email. Like, how does that work?
Right.
I mean, I know we can just do it and send it and it's gone, but how does it actually get to me in my inbox? That is incredible. That's a very intriguing part of DNS servers and technology and equipment and the internet and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. What's the value of crypto? Why are people so attracted to it as a form of money? You said really it does kind of invert our whole conception of money.
It inverts so much of it, man. That's what's fascinating. That's one of my favorite things about it. But what we have to do initially is remove ourselves from a United States version of money for a second, because there's a lot of countries out there that don't have the monetary policy or the government standards that we do. And without going massively into the rabbit hole, that'll be in our live event on the 4th and 5th when I go more into rabbit holes. But in general, what we have to consider is think about Russia, Venezuela, Cuba, tons of countries in Africa, China, all these countries that are really, really overwhelmed by a particular government. It doesn't matter if it's communism or socialism, but in general, that government has the ability to immediately, rapidly, and very quickly inflate or deflate their currency on a rapid scale. So Colombia is the same way, Ecuador, Guatemala, it's happening all across Central and South America with different governments. But they're able to change their currency, man, so that they can lose 50% of their buying power. Mm-hmm. Imagine that happening in the US, right? Your house is worth $1 million. And then, 2 weeks later, bro, it's worth 500,000 because your value of your currency got so crashed. So what they do, what's been happening over the last few years is other citizens in these countries have realized that their dollar or their peso, whatever it's called, has been so dramatically impacted by just simply the government's actions. They've been buying a deflationary asset known as a cryptocurrency, aka Ethereum, Litecoin, or Bitcoin, or potentially a few others. And they're taking their asset and they're buying it, giving them, again, that inflation hedge. So that's one reason why it's intriguing. A second reason is when you exchange a cryptocurrency, there's no one that can tell you yes or no. For example, and you know this, and a lot of your listeners know this, but if you're trying to wire $1 million, it's not as easy as it sounds. Like, you have to go to a bank, you have to get approval, they have to see you in person. And on a rare occasion, banks can actually decline a wire, especially if it's an international wire. It's relatively rare, but it can happen. Now, on a much smaller scale, let's say, for example, someone is an immigrant to America, or they live in America, or they are working here on a work visa, or whatever the case is. They have the ability to also send money back to their home country using a cryptocurrency immediately, instantaneously, for a fraction of a percentage of a percent. So much less than a Western Union or a MoneyGram. And they're able to send that instantaneously without anyone's approval, without a yes or a no, and they can send it immediately. And so that's what initially was so intriguing to so many people who might be working here from a different country, able to send their money back home. Let's say for the Philippines, you can send your money back to the Philippines, and the Bitcoin or the crypto they're using is, number one, more valuable. Number one, a faster transaction methodology. Number three, totally protected from their government.
Fascinating. So yeah, it's really it's fulfilling several niches there, several needs. You mentioned authoritarian governments. I've often gotten a question of whether cryptocurrencies can actually be controlled by a state. So I've heard that Bitcoin, to take it all the way, I've heard some people even say Bitcoin could actually become that single currency of a one world government or something like that. But based on what you said, that seems to me to contradict the whole value basis of crypto, which is its decentralization. Is there any merit to that concern that crypto can be controlled by governments?
That's an amazing question, man. Very, very educated question. And obviously, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your questions. And that's a phenomenal one.
Cool.
In general, the answer is no. That's what makes it so appealing, is that it can't happen. Because a cryptocurrency, as you mentioned, the term decentralized in general means that not only are they decentralized, but they're also distributed. So you can have, in an easy basic term, something called a node. And a node is a very, very specific collection of miners, which is a computer algorithm. And those computer algorithms can be anywhere in the world. And if one is taken down, if one's shut down, that's just going to go parcel off to another node somewhere else on the planet Earth.
Interesting.
And it's going to happen instantaneously, and it's going to be an algorithm. So the algorithm will know, okay, this whole block in Iceland, they're down, they don't work anymore. So let's go send them to someone else. So they would go totally parcel off everything immediately to a whole other country, wherever it is. It could be in Vegas, or it could be in South Korea. So the computers would actually take care of all of that for it instantaneously. Now, the obvious problem to cryptocurrencies, and this is a dumb one, but it is, would be an EMP. Like a global electromagnetic pulse. But I tell a lot of people, bro, if that happens,
is crypto our last concern kind of thing?
Like, you're like, oh no, I can't open my crypto wallet. That's not going to be your biggest issue if that actually happens.
In the midst of this post-apocalyptic world, right?
Correct. Yep. So in essence, man, really centralized authorities are not going to be able to stop any cryptocurrency if it's a valid decentralized crypto or crypto and graphic piece of asset. Ripple, as an example, is one that is kind of more centralized. Was supposed to be the bank's cryptocurrency. And I was never a huge fan of Ripple. I never bought it. I never traded it. I didn't like it from the get-go. And it really hasn't been a very popular one. It's been kind of like in a downtrend ever since the beginning because it's really not a people's currency. You want a currency that has the ability of not only allowing anyone to access it at any time, but also be fully, totally decentralized and able for anyone to create more of it.
Yeah.
Would be something that could not happen.
Yeah, so it's missing one of those key needs, the
Yeah.
key value element. How does one invest in crypto? What are the various options that one can take to actually go ahead and bite the bullet, as it were, and invest?
Yeah, man. Well, for those who are listening, I know your podcast, your program is all about adding value, and so we're not going to be like, "Hey guys, this is it." But really, if you want to know the super, super, super big secret, here's the answer to that question. There are two main ways to do it. There actually is a ETF that people can buy. So an ETF stands for exchange traded fund. So you can buy this in an IRA and a regular stock account. I'm not saying this is not advice. I'm just simply letting you know that this exists. But there is something called the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. The ticker is GBTC. As we're speaking right now, it's trading about $31 per share. So you can actually use US dollars to invest in that over the counter in an IRA or whatever other account you want. The other one is the ticker ETHE, which is the Grayscale Ethereum ETF. So those are two ways that you can do it. The other way is you can open up an exchange. There's hundreds of exchanges, just like there's hundreds of brokers, there's hundreds of fast food restaurants, car dealerships, and places to buy suit and ties. At some point, you got to pick one. So there's a lot of different exchanges, and I will be covering those direct exchanges in the live discussion. But essentially, man, if you open up an exchange, which can be done right now, many of them are actually FDIC insured.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. So as you all know, $250,000 of insurance.
Yeah.
So AKA, it's about as safe as opening up a bank account, essentially.
Wow.
And that FDIC insurance tells you that, hey, man, this is legitimate. These companies and systems are verified. They are backed by the FDIC. And if something happens, you can be insured for that amount of money, which wasn't a thing at all 5 years ago.
Right. Well, yeah, I know it's moving at such a fast rate right now in terms of the world kind of reconfiguring itself around it. For me, this brings up a question to the relationship between crypto and independence and freedom. And one of the projects that we're working on this channel is helping Patriots build what we've called a parallel police, parallel structures to very woke corporations, banks, and the like. What role would crypto play in this whole notion of creating almost a sense of a sub-economy, a parallel economy, as it were, within the more dominant one, as it were?
That's a phenomenal question. The easiest and simplest answer I could give you right now would be essentially imagine that we had the ability right now to use solar energy and have a credit-based system that's a cryptocurrency, so it's decentralized, and you have your solar credits that pay your power bill. And if you have a surplus, you can either A, sell them back to the electric company, or B, you can exchange those credits to someone else all across the world and pay for their electricity if they have a smart contract or a smart reader or a smart meter. And giving that ability to either A, donate your surplus, or B, pay for other people's electricity if they might not be able to afford it for whatever particular reason, giving that ability is years away, months away. And there's even a few opportunities out there that are thinking about taking a cryptocurrency, putting on a blockchain so that you and I can pay into it, and voting can now be decentralized and on your phone, so that no one would have to leave their house. They could literally upload their ID or their social security card or whatever to their phone. They could vote. And then all of it is not only tracked, but verifiable on what's called the distributed ledger, which is the blockchain technology. That would be such a ridiculous and radical improvement to America's voting system. So I'm thinking that's probably like 10 years away, maybe even more. but it's something that needs to happen because right now it's so antiquated
Yeah.
and it's so horrific. In my
Yeah.
opinion, personally, there's so much reason and so much capabilities for fraud. And but just from a basic, like, it's hard to do. Like, why do I want to go out, wait in line for a bunch of time, beat around a bunch of people I don't like? Like, why can't I just vote from my phone? Like, why is that a
Yeah.
difficult thing? You can pay taxes from your phone. Why can't you vote
Right.
from your phone?
Right. Right.
So there's a lot of those applications are going to be coming, and you can use cryptocurrencies to feel and fuel those brand new, totally separate ecosystems that would be massively outside of the current sphere that we have now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
That's
cool.
so neat.
Yeah.
Well, I guess finally, I'm thinking in terms of the whole volatility issue of late that we've
Yeah.
seen with crypto. I really like something you had on your website. We'll have a link down below for people to see it. How crypto elicits two kinds of buys. A BUY and then periodically a BYE. So, so give us a sense of of the notion that despite its volatility, nevertheless, why is crypto more important than ever despite these recent plunges?
Yeah, and this is going to be a really, really crazy statement, but buying certain cryptocurrencies, which the two that I personally would recommend, not recommend, but the two that I have and the two that I think are going to do really well in the next few years, the stable ones, the original ones, the OGs, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those two are going to have massive, massive applications. I think buying those two cryptocurrencies right now is like investing in real estate in Manhattan in 1891.
Wow. Okay.
So
Wow.
we have a long, long way to go. The volatility is never going to go away. That's why, and again, we'll talk about this on the 4th and 5th. I don't think Bitcoin or Ethereum will ever be the world reserve currency or the one world reserve currency. I think they could be a backing for it. It's potential. Like if there were a gold standard, those would be, the original ones to base it on. We'll get into that later. But in general, man, volatility is a beautiful thing. One of my favorite sayings, if it has a chart, it has a heart. And I would love to teach and show your followers visually how to tell very recognizable signs when you're going to about to have a 50% crash. And once you have that 50% crash, how you can use certain entry orders and certain math based, very, very easy second grade math, brother,
Hmm.
calculations to determine how much you should buy, what your risk would look like, and how much you could make on a certain level. For example, Ethereum yesterday, this is not exaggeration, bro. Yesterday, it was at low 2000s. Right now, it's at 2600. That's almost a 30% move
Wow.
in 29 hours. So if
Wow.
you took, let's say 10 grand, okay, an amount of money that most of our listeners like, well, whatever. So if you took 10,000, that's now $3,000 of cash flow in the last 24 hours that you could pull out right now.
Yep.
And you could go buy something amazing with it, give a gift for your wife, give a gift to your kids, donate to your favorite charity, whatever you want to do. That volatility should be embraced. A lot of
Right.
people are feeling volatility, but that's just because we're not taught how to embrace volatility. I can teach your listeners how to do that.
That's great. Oh man, I'm so excited. This is awesome, Jerry. And gang, you're going to learn even more from Jeremy at our upcoming Patriot Entrepreneur Live virtual conference on June 4th and 5th. You can register by clicking on the link below. It is a virtual conference, so you do not even have to leave your own couch. You can
Bam.
just register for it and enjoy it, and you're going to learn how to be financially independent. No longer, you're going to be able to break free from all these woke work environments and the like. So the beauty is this virtual conference, and this is great. So you're gonna have Jeremy there. You're gonna have Michael Lush, Replace Your Mortgage. You're gonna have Jake Scott Shield, a Commercial Academy. More people coming. So it's gonna be great. But Jeremy, some people may be chomping at the bit, and they just can't wait to the 4th and 5th. Where could they reach you if they want to learn more about you and your wonderful services?
Yeah, brother. I mean, it makes sense because with the volatility of cryptocurrencies, I mean, we could have another 30% rally up and down, which you can make money on cryptos up and down, by the way. This can move another 30% in the next 5 days
Right.
after watching this. So make sure you learn how to do it. Get links where all links are found. So check the description boxes, bios. If you guys are watching this or listening to this, scroll anywhere you can and check out the links that we're going to have provided for you so that you can get access to it immediately or at least as quick as you want. Because I would be absolutely thrilled honored and be my privilege to show each and every one of you the time frames to use, the charting techniques to use, the softwares to use, which are generally free anyway, and get a really, really good visual perspective of how we can create more cash flow in our life faster and easier.
Awesome. Links down below, gang.
Bam.
Jeremy Newsom, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks, brother.